you right now?
This is not good. Mr. Sharp, we did a topic last week in your absence in which we asked, what do the Cowboys need to add to become a Super Bowl team? And my answer was nothing but experience. I thought all the pieces were in place.
Okay.
I spoke too soon. I very possibly jinxed or even doomed myself by saying that. I do love a lot of the key pieces to this team, but I don't love this. And my mother didn't teach me a whole lot, but she did always say you get what you pay for. And that's what they got with Randy Gregory. They stole him in the second round. He was going to be a top 5 pick, but obviously had multiple drug issues at Nebraska.
Yeah.
And last year, they got a lot of bang for their bucks because they paid him a grand total of $782,000, and he had 6 sacks and multiple pressures on the quarterback because he is a high motor disruptor, is Randy Gregory. It was predictable. He fell once again because his history would scream, look out, look out, look out, and here it comes again. God bless him. I hope he gets his life straight, but history would tell you he's always going to struggle with the demon that he has.
That's correct.
Which brings me to one David Irving. Of all the defensive players on that defensive front, I love him the most. I love his potential, even over DeMarcus Lawrence's potential. 6'7", 300-pound monster with real quickness, like Aaron Donald sort of quickness. Could he be Aaron Donald? I don't know.
No.
But he has that kind of explosiveness, but he's got his demons. This very possibly could be his 3rd suspension, maybe, coming up. It's been predicted it's on the way. 3rd in 3 years. And that's why the Cowboys, I think, were ready to let him walk in free agency anyway. Which brings me to DeMarcus Lawrence. His negotiating leverage just went through the closed roof of Jerry World.
Yes, it did.
Now you're going to have to dramatically overpay to keep him from walking into free agency because, as we discussed yesterday, I consider him a very good player, but not a great player. And even you agreed he's not DeMarcus Ware or Von Miller at his peak. He's not one of those guys. He's definitely not my favorite all-time pass rusher, Charles Haley, for the Dallas Cowboys, number 94, who finally got in the Hall of Fame. He's not that guy. Which brings me back to what's going to happen when you do overpay him. He's not going to have a bookend next year, it looks like to me. He's not going to have a Randy Gregory because they don't grow on trees. The Cowboys don't pick in this draft until the bottom of the 2nd round. No Taco Charlton. I'm not.
No, no. Skip. You tell me he's going to be making tacos? They're going to be selling tacos at Jerry World? You ain't even mentioned it.
He's had his, I did before you did. He's had his moments, but he's not Randy Gregory. He's not a bookend, every down, smash and masher at defensive end.
He's a first-round pick.
I know. He's a late first-round pick. Yeah, I'll give you that. Maybe he'll rise and shine. I hope so. Because if he doesn't and there's no bookend, you know what's going to happen to DeMarcus Lawrence more and more?
Yeah, they double him.
They'll triple him. They'll take him out of the game.
Exactly.
And you know what will happen then? If there's no pass rush, you know what's going to happen. All of a sudden, the corners start looking bad. And all of a sudden, the safeties look worse.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you say, you can't defend the pass. Right?
I've always thought the secondary was the weakness of the unit.
But it got camouflaged.
Right,
right?
because they can get up the quarterback.
I agree.
Yep.
So I fear there's going to be a gaping hole over at the opposite end from DeMarcus Lawrence next year. And again, you know what you can say going in? You can say what Jerry said all last offseason about the number 1 receiver. We don't have one. We'll do it by committee. And I kept saying, well, maybe he's right. Maybe. And then they went down to Carolina for the opener, and then they went to Seattle, and I kept saying, they can't get open. There's not a number 1. Well, if there's not a number 1 at the other defensive end, you got a problem.
Right.
Because if you have no pass rush, what did you tell me yesterday, Mr. Hall of Famer? You said defensive end is the most important position on the football field after quarterback.
Yep.
You are correct, sir.
Because the one guy scores the point, you better have somebody that can keep him from scoring.
All right. So just when I thought I was safe, I got double jeopardy bad news because I got Randy Gregory and I got David Irving back-to-back in the same afternoon. How is that possible? Only in Dallas can that happen.
But here's the thing, Skip. The Cowboys defense has had at least 1 starter suspended each of the last 4 seasons. DeMarcus Lawrence, Orlando Scandrick, Rolando McClain, Greg Hardy, Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory going to be suspended again.
Boy, you just listed some bad apples.
But why? But Jerry's willing to take chances.
Plunger. He plunged to make his fortune in life in the oil field. That's what he does.
This is why.
And you know what? Jerry's got. There's in Jerry is some of all those guys.
Yes.
He's got a little bit of that in him, and so he gravitates to it because he says, "I overcame it. They can overcome it."
And this is why so many of Jerry players love him. Because
they
he's
do.
He's willing to give them a second chance. Skip, and he surrounds them with a system and with caretakers to make sure they have the best. Because Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence had very, very similar situations. And Randy, for whatever reason, DeMarcus Lawrence was able to turn the corner so far and say, you know what? Being in the NFL and making millions and taking care of my family financially is more important to me. For whatever reasons, Randy Gregory can't shake these demons. He can't. I give you another, Von Miller. Skip, look at Von. Von had a very similar situation.
It's a good example, and I agree. And I don't know what happened, but the switch got flipped. I don't know.
He realized how important football was. Sometimes guys get it, Skip. Sometimes when you're away from something, you realize how important it is and how soon it can be taken away from you, and a switch goes off. And Von turned himself into Super Bowl MVP, captain of the Denver Broncos.
He did.
One of the voices. He's the leader of the team, not the quarterback.
And what's the next thing I saw after that? He's in like 5 national TV commercials. That guy?
Yes, Old Spice.
Really?
So now you got 2 D linemen down. Randy Gregg is gone indefinitely, and it looks like they're going to let David Irving skate out the door.
It looks like.
Taco Charlton in 2 years has 4 sacks, 3 his first year, 1 last.
He's had glimpses and flashes.
Good thing I don't like glimpses. I don't like flashes. I like steady.
I know.
That's
so do
like
I agree.
And because that, Skip, look, and here's the thing. When you take chances on guys like this, which he did, you got better hope they make the right decisions. Because if they don't, there's a reason why you got Randy Gregory. There's a reason why you got DeMarcus Lawrence where you did. Skip, they weren't going to be there for you to pick where you got them. And so this is what happens, Skip. Jerry's willing to take that risk, and sometimes it works out for you. DeMarcus Lawrence, it worked out for you. This Randy Gregory doesn't look like it's going to work out. This David Irving doesn't look like it's going to work out. And I give you another example. Look at Khalil Mack. Now, Khalil Mack in Oakland, he was okay, but he didn't have anybody outside of him.
That's true.
They could slide the protection. They could really he got 10 sacks. But not nearly the impact when he goes to Chicago and they got Hakeem Hicks and they got Floyd on one side. Now, all of a sudden, you see what he can do. Von Miller's been unbelievable. But look at when he had D. Ware and when he had Malik Jackson, when he had guys that you just couldn't set your protection to stop him. Skip, I don't want bad news. You think I want this to happen to you? But we already got these 2 cases that y'all were going to miss the playoffs.
And I own them. Accept them. Still got a long way to go.
And again, you got a short time to get there.
And I still got a Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and Amari Cooper. And I got
we're going to talk about them a little later.
Yes, we are.
We're going to talk about them a little later.
But at least I got them for next year.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
You sure?
Well, I got to knock on wood.
Maybe you gotta be careful what you say now.
They might want somebody. I brought that up yesterday. Remember, Skip, I brought that up yesterday. I said, Skip, how you going to pay all these people? These people want money.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that a little bit.
See, here's the thing, Skip. And DeMarcus Lawrence says, hold on, wait a minute. I might have been willing, because the difference between Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack is that they had 1 year left on their contract. This man's free. And remember, free agency is not about being good or great. It's about being free.
At the right time.
Yeah, he's free. And guess what? It'll cost you $20,500,000 if you're franchising. Do you want $20 million against your cap? Is that what you want, Skip? I didn't think so. So he said,
at least his drug suspension was reportedly amphetamines as opposed to other drugs that could be addictive. Not that amphetamines couldn't be addictive, but you have a better chance of saying, I can live without that. Right?
So now, with that being said, DeMarcus Lawrence said, you know what? I saw what Aaron Donald got. I saw what Khalil Mack got.
Agree.
But they weren't free. I'm free. So I want $80 million guaranteed on a $120 million contract.
All right.
You got that for me, Jerry?
We'll see. He's got it right now, but that could That could cause some problems down the line.
DeMarcus Lawrence, and you see he had the money shirt on yesterday.
Yep.
He knew what was coming. He knew too. He had probably his agent probably told him. I heard through the grapevine.
Yeah, it's true. You hear that.
Money, 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 money.
Yep. What did Jerry Jones get away with doing through the 1990s? A dynasty happened because of it. He plunged on a whole lot of players with questionable character.
Yeah, he did, Skip.
Our man Michael Irvin had his issues, and Eric Williams had his, and Mark Tuinei and Nate Newton. I could go on. If you gave me another hour, I could keep going. And they got away with it because the leadership of that team was so strong, starting with Michael Irvin, and they should have won 4 straight Super Bowls. And Jerry knows the history of this team back to Tom Landry's Cowboys. Trust me, there were times and days when America's team was more South America's team, as they used to derisively call it, because it was drug city. And they got away with it because there wasn't the testing there is today, but there were a lot of bad apples who played for, as I called him, God's coach, Coach Landry, and they won lots of championships with bad apples. So Jerry is plunging and plunging, and he got burned.
Well, the thing that they could do back in the 90s that they don't have now was depth. They went 8 deep on the defensive line.
That's true.
They don't have 8 defensive linemen. So when you can trot out Charles Haley and Tolbert and Russell Maryland, Leon Lett, and then you keep going and running them in and out, and you had those fast linebackers running in and out, you could do that. They don't have that depth now, Skip. You got your money concentrated in a few small areas, and you get to understand. So now, I mean, with the exception of Deion, what the money make big, you know, Deion was the really big free agent.
He was.
He and Charles Haley. Charles Haley made decent money, but not like Deion.
Not like
because
that.
they had to overpay to get Deion.
They did,
Because
and they did.
everybody wanted him. Because he changes the balance of power.
And he was worth every cent.
Every dime.
Yep.
So